one thing, I brought this up at DPW last night. The DPW committee met last evening. I brought this up with them as well. Just, again, if you could, an update on the Mountainview Estates. Have we had any additional activity on that?
No, not this last month.
Okay, nothing on Mountainview. Yeah, I'd like, since it is my ward up there, I could kind of kept in the loop as far as if there's any meetings or anything like that going on. I'd certainly be happy to attend any meetings up there on site or anything like that. It does directly impact the 3rd Ward, so I certainly would appreciate that. Shout out. You know, probably going to be during the day. I probably wouldn't be able to make them anyway, but it's just like, you know, it gives me an idea what the progress is. So I don't have to come here every month and ask the same question. And I'll provide the engineer with my card so he can pass it along to his office as well. That's my numbers on it. And other than that, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. Thank you.
Does anybody have anything for Mr. Wortmann? John, I will have to say, at the meeting, the Common Council meeting 2 meetings ago, you made some statements in regards to some of the members of the board and their qualifications and a couple of the applications we have before the board. You said a couple things that weren't really appropriate. I would just, let me finish.
Okay, and that's all.
We have a very good set of department heads here in the city. We have a very good engineering firm. And yes, all the people on the board don't know everything, but we rely on our department head comments and our engineering firm's comments. And to say that people that are affiliated with other agencies have no right to do some voting or should not be voting, and I feel that people on the board know the requirements, know what's being asked of them, and it's a lot. We spend mostly an hour and a half to 2 hours a night here when we're here, and I feel that some of the comments you made were really inappropriate, and a couple of our board members are very upset about a couple of things you said.
Okay. I don't recall exactly what I said. It certainly didn't mean to offend anybody personally, but I will say...
Well, it was personal when you come out and say anyone affiliated with the school district had no right to be...
Well, I think the point I was making there was, I would hope, obviously they have a right to vote, they're a member of the board. Nobody's going to come along and tell them they don't. I would hope that, in good conscience, they would recuse themselves from a vote on a project that's going to end potentially having to kiss the school district. And I think that was the point I was trying to make there. And I stand behind that. I don't see anything wrong. I certainly would, if I was in that position. Okay, I think that was the point I was making there. I don't know what other comments you're referring to.
Well, when you refer to people within the city government, within the boards that have affiliations with public service and people, if you expect them to recuse themselves, most everybody over the boards, we're a small town, and we have a lot of people that either have family or themselves that work for the public service for many, many years.
Well, I think the point is that we need to be very cautious about who gets appointed to some of these boards. I think there's a lot of people out there that might be inclined to be appointed, and I think the point that I've been making along is that it tends to be the same people over and over again. I put my, and I'll take this from you, if you want to get right into it, I'll take it from the point of view of my involvement with Port Jervis politics, and the fact that I volunteered on numerous occasions to serve on various boards and committees and never even got so much as a return phone call. So I guess if I take away from that, I can only imagine there's probably maybe 100 other people in Port Jervis maybe in the same situation. So I think the point I was trying to make was, let's reach out, and it's not to disparage necessarily the people who have served, but let's reach out to the larger community. Let's afford them an opportunity to do that. And I think that's the point I was trying to make there. And that's just based on my own personal experience. So, you know, I volunteered for planning board, shade tree committee, numerous things over the years, and never got so much as a return phone call on any of those things. So I think that's just based on my personal experience and talking to other people. I've talked to hundreds of people in Port Jervis in my political career here. And it just ran by, as you know, I ran for office 3 times. Okay, and in the course of that, I spoke to a lot of people in my ward, and these are the concerns. The things that I bring to the council aren't just emanations of my own imagination. They're things that people have brought to me about how the planning board, the zoning, that's what the zoning board, planning board, DPW, other departments in the city that they've had issues with. And you know, there's been projects that have come before this planning board that I've spoken in favor of. This year, in fact. There's been projects that have come before the planning board that I don't think should have been approved, and I don't think I've made any mystery about that. The 116 North Orange subdivision is case in point. So, you know, I think we all have different viewpoints and different opinions. I certainly didn't mean to offend anybody personally, but, you know, if you take it that way, there's not much I can do about that. But I have an opinion about, particularly with somebody on who's an employee of the school district voting on a project that basically could add a lot of kids to the school district. And I think that's one of my biggest concerns, and one of the biggest concerns I've heard expressed about the Mountainview Estates project. And, you know, I've got to respond to my constituency. I don't live up there, but I do pay taxes in Port Jervis, just like the rest of you. So it is going to have an impact on that. And it is going to have an impact on that neighborhood up there, a significant impact. As I said before, it's the largest subdivision before this planning board in probably 50, 60 years.
I understand that. And
So, you know,
and the board, everyone on the board is capable of studying it and making a correct decision.
But I'm also entitled to express the concerns of my constituents
Yes,
who
you
have
are.
come to me and said, we have real issues about this project and how it's going to be handled and reviewed and ultimately approved.